To give you all a heads up, I've read this book 4 years ago, but it only made a bigger impact on me now than it did me before. By impact, I mean strong effect, and by strong effect, it could either be positive or negative. Anyway, hey guys, Q here, and today I will be featuring All the Bright Places, written by Jennifer Niven. And partially why I reread this book in the first place was because I wanted to compare it to the yet-to-be-released Netflix adaptation that will premiere on Feb 28. And sometimes I consider rereading a book to be a healthy activity, not because you get to compare your thoughts about it before, which I did with this one, but because we all go through different phases of our lives that the perspectives we have on the books change too. Try it, it works. You'll never know what the lessons that the books that you've read before could teach you now. And let this also be an opportunity for me to thank all those who have supported me in my first vlog. I did not expect to receive so much support on my first try, nor did I expect that people who have the same drive within them, that is to make use of their time for growth, would be inspired with what I said. It's just nice getting these messages from people, of them sharing their stories. That's actually what surprised me most of all, to be honest. I'm excited for all of you to take your first step, and it's already an achievement when you do. Really, it is. So I'm really excited for all of you. Really, I am. Heck, I just did this out of the blue, and I'm so glad that I had the courage and even the audacity to share it in the first place. And I'm also grateful for all those who have given their suggestions to improve my craft, which have certainly now helped that I'm on my second. I'm so excited to apply them to the next vlogs and see the comparison. So I'm very thankful for all those who are now on board with me on the quests that I am yet to unfold this year, challenge myself to do. This will be my very first book review, and I hope that this will go a wider reach, most especially before the Netflix adaptation is set to release. I would highly encourage if you would get to listen to what I have to say first, most especially before watching it, or let alone read it. Okay, let's cut to the chase. The story talks about a guy called Finch and a girl named Violet. They meet atop their school's bell tower one day. Though reasons that compel them to contemplate about jumping off the bell tower may be different, the two discover that they share a lot in common after all. Finch struggles with a difficult home life and is struggling from mental illness, whereas Violet secretly struggles in coming to terms with the death of her sister, for which she feels responsible. Finch talks Violet off that ledge and is successful in doing so. But since it was 6 stories up, everyone from below thought that it was the other way around, because Finch was somewhat labeled to be the school freak and is known to be the boy who's obsessed with death, which eventually isolates him from everybody else. Whereas Violet is well liked, pretty, and popular. For their geography class, Finch chooses Violet to be his partner for the class's project. A class project in which they are assigned to explore Indiana, their home state. Personally, I would consider this as a journey story, this novel, due to the explorations of these wanderings, these bright places that are somewhat considered to be unusual sights as well. But as the story progresses, it becomes clear that what mattered was what these wanderings mean to them. It is a story of love, growth, and of self-discovery, as poignant and as socially relevant as it is. I have been seeing blurbs from this book, from bookstores and from the book blogging community alike, saying that it's somewhat similar to The Fault in Our Stars. Pretty much I would agree that they are both quite similar, in terms with the characters and the story arc. But there are elements of All the Bright Places that tackle something way more deeper than that. Deeper in its social relevance. And that's what has captivated me and the rest of the readers by which this book was speaking to in the first place. but we'll get back to that later. The characters are considerably interesting. Though it's highly unlikely for geeks and jocks to be falling for each other. I mean, if there are witty, charismatic guys like Finch and book geeks, intelligent girls like Violet, then it would still happen. Though it is still possible. But let's face it, it rarely happens, right? Still, you know, it's kind of a turn off for me when books tend to showcase somewhat of a fairy tale in a realistic setting. Most especially when the characters in the book are so different. Though I gotta admit, I mean, the story arc makes up for it. Like I said, Finch and Violet still share a lot in common. One of my positive comments include the fact that these characters grow and eventually become realistic human beings that I personally could relate to at a certain level. The journey of exploring peculiar sides of Indiana may be physical places, but the exploration itself changes them, manifests within them, and contributes to their growth. And that's what's nice about this book. I mean, isn't that what I'm doing as a vlogger as well? I mean, I too struggle to get off my butt and explore what awaits for me out there. But like what Finch told Violet, you need shoving, not pushing. You need to jump back on that camel. Otherwise, you're going to stay up on the ledge you've made for yourself. Though I would admit that Finch's approach to Violet is really creepy at first. But I gotta hand it to him, because he knew exactly what was best for her and knew exactly what has to be done. People who are dealing with past trauma, just like Violet in the story, need to get professional help. But in the story, Finch offered something quite similar to that. And he gave the shove, not the push, that Violet needed. I got that too. And I'm thankful for that shove. As some of you might already know, personally I could relate to the book on so many levels, since it not only speaks but mirrors my life, most especially these natural occurrences that happen in my everyday life that I'm supposed to cope with regardless. So yes, I may have my own fair share of experiences that are similar to the ones portrayed in the book. From Finch's difficult home life to Violet's coping mechanism, her difficulty in getting back on track, getting back on the camel. And I understand that some of you would also have these same problems, since like I said, these are natural occurrences that happen in everyday life. Although the book did its job in portraying mental illness, it still is a serious subject to deal with and to talk about nowadays. The book in fact received a lot of criticisms due to its suicide themes that I myself agree with. I'm sorry, Jennifer. I really do look up to you, but yes, this book may have shed some light and has brought me to a bright place. But I'm not brushing off the fact that it brought me to a dark place as well. You guys might be curious, Q, what do you mean? What is that dark place? Well, a dark place, yes, because it did trigger me a lot. Only now compared to years ago for some reason. Alright, I'll be honest, I'll come off clean. I deal with some of the things that Finch goes through in the book, since the book really did a good job portraying mental illness. Okay, but maybe I may be too sensitive about the whole thing, and maybe people who are struggling internally are left unbothered, though Finch's obsession with death is something that I could tolerate. It is still something that people could be bothered by and triggered by. So shouldn't there be warnings for this book before people actually buy the book or read the book? I mean, there's gotta be warnings before it's too late. Especially now that Netflix has created an adaptation for it. And I'm just alarmed about the whole thing. Its release is going to be 3 days from now, and it's going to have a wider reach. So yeah, that's just basically something that I just want to impart to you guys. That's just why I'm posting this 3 days before the Netflix adaptation. But that's just it. That's just what I want to impart to you guys. I just want you guys to be careful. So there you have it. Now you guys know why I'm so eager to be sharing my thoughts on this thing. So I would increasingly encourage you guys to express caution, proceed with discretion in reading this particular book, even in watching the movie. Since there aren't enough publicized warnings about this book, the blurbs are just like, oh, it's just like Fault in Their Stars, then yeah, I know it's going to make me cry. But this is a whole different trigger. I mean, it's a nice book, though it might really just trigger you. So thus you have to proceed with caution and discretion. Because for me, people have the right to know what they're getting themselves into before they buy the book and take it home with them, regardless if it be a spoiler or not. What's nice is that I get to impart to you guys this message, and I didn't even spoil anything, not even the twists in the story that people will just cry about. Okay, I've calmed down. But hey, on the bright side, I really still am thankful that this book is out there, because it deals with so many universal things, you know? Just as it should. People have to be more aware about its subject matter, that is, mental health. That's why I consider it to be socially relevant from 4 years ago when I read it in my school's library until now on my office desk. This book, obviously, was like a cry for help. Mental illness faces a stigma into today's society, most especially the people who suffer from it. And through Finch's story did it reflect how real, how serious it is, how it shouldn't be neglected but understood by the world. Books like these help us start conversations that needed to be started today, and reminds us that we all have to be genuinely there for each other. This book provides both awareness and a reminder. It reminds them that they are not alone, and it encourages them to get professional help when needed. Yes, don't look for a theater Finch, ladies. Get some professional help. 4 out of 5 stars from this book. Alright, so that concludes my book review, book reflection for today. Do take care, every single one of you. And I hope this message goes a long way. If you don't want to miss any of my quests or the challenges that I have yet to unfold for myself this year, click like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you get notified, and I'll see you all soon. Queens out!